Uh, to be to put it in very simple terms, nonverbal communication is body language. Anything that is not words that are coming out of your mouth is nonverbal communication. So it can be using your face to smile or make an angry face. That is nonverbal communication. Or using your hands like this when you're talking, pointing at somebody. All of that is nonverbal communication. And the tone of your voice, happy tones, angry tones, all of that is nonverbal communication. So this nonverbal communication is basically using your body in interesting ways to uh, get your point across to your audience or anyone who's listening to you, making things interesting with your body. So that's what nonverbal communication is. So we will be focusing on this topic today, which will be our final topic and workshop as well. So it's very nice to have you guys here. It's very I'm very happy that you guys were able to stick from the very beginning to the last workshop of the workshop series. And today also we have a very experienced and very energetic mentor to guide you through this workshop and this area of speech, and that is Gavelier Tharushie Karunathilleke from the medical faculty. She was the vice president of public relations in the last executive committee, and so she knows a thing or two about how to get the public interested about whatever the club is going to do at that time. So she's one of the best people to guide you guys through this nonverbal communication skills. So I invite Gavelier Tharushie Karunathilleke to take over this session.
Right. Thank you so much, Peshara. So I hope you can hear me and see me as well. Both good? Okay. So first up, I'll give a bit of introduction because I'm pretty sure most of you here don't know me. So like as Peshara mentioned, I was also a Gavelier. I'm still a Gavelier even though I don't show up to meetings much. So I'm Tharushie. I'm from the medical faculty. I'm a fourth year undergraduate. So I was a part of the executive committee, the previous executive committee, and now I'm quite retired and chilling and enjoying a uh, mojito by the beach, to quote one of our previous VP education. So yeah, so that's me. So I will be talking to you and telling you all about the things I've known and I gathered throughout my Gavel career and as well as from life when it comes to nonverbal communication. So first, like I before dive right into it, so like communication, like when you think of communication, you first think of the like speech basically. But it's not actually, it's communication is not just speech. There's so many aspects to it. I mean, like in the earliest forms of communication were like they started with touch basically. So there's no words involved at all. So I mean, even that was also a form of communication. So but I mean, we have this like uh, base level idea of that. When it comes to communication, it's just speech. So as long as we got our words in order, we will be fine. But yeah, to a certain extent, I mean, having your content organized is great, but it doesn't exactly. It's basically like 50 to 60% of what you can do with your communication skills. There's so much more that you can add, basically like the icing on the top of the cake, to make your communication skills like much more brighter and penetrative to the audience. So we will be basically touching on certain aspects of, I mean, like briefly running through, and I will be talking to you all about how you can include these stuff in to your speeches. It doesn't have to be speeches per se. I mean, even day-to-day conversations can be, you can use these skills in your day-to-day conversations as well. So like before I dive right into it, so can I have the next slide please? Yeah. If you all have been to a Gavel meeting, at least one, I'm pretty sure you have encountered this session called the round robin session, where like you speak for about 30 seconds on a small topic. So today I thought of like giving you all the opportunity for any volunteers from the audience to speak about where do I see myself in 10 years. So for 30 seconds, it doesn't have to be long. So are there any volunteers? Even if you're like afraid to turn on a camera, that's fine. I mean, as long as I can hear you speak, I think we are okay as a starter, because this workshop series was all about basically getting up your self-confidence in speaking. So I mean, at least taking up the opportunity, volunteering to speak is a step itself. So it would be great if I can get at least one or two people to speak a little bit about this topic.
In 10 years, I'd be lucky to have all my hair on my head. At the rate things are going.
Stress, I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
Who else?
Well, I hope I am audible.
Yes, you are, Sharka.
So, where do I see myself in 10 years? Actually, a nice question, and also really intriguing, because I am about to choose the my specialization area, which will definitely affect my 10 years time. Where would I be ultimately? Well, I am a kind of a guy who is a nature lover, and also someone who is into the fields of biology, basically microbiology and pathology, some things like that. So I'm currently studying my faculty, the fisheries and marine sciences. Probably the specialization would be, I'm still considering my options, well, the aquaculture. So I am looking forward to doing something very much important to mankind ultimately, and also to balance with the nature, because it really doesn't matter how much we do the things for ourselves. If how we have ultimately hurt Mother Nature, we have failed ourselves there. So according to my view, so ultimately my goal in 10 years, I would see a professional one, I guess, well, that who is capable of serving the mankind and ultimately fulfilling my things, and also balance it with the nature. Uh, yeah, in years time, I'll be somewhere related in my field. Yeah, thank you. That's my
Thank
thing.
you, Shara. So thank you for volunteering. Otherwise, I would have been like, embarrassing. It would if there weren't any volunteers. So yeah, let's dive right into it. So I'll come back to it why I did this again, this activity at the start of my speech, basically. Then I'll come back to it later. So diving into the topic you actually showed up. So basically, to get some tips on how to improve nonverbal communication. So like I said before, like you have to remember that, I mean, for when you think of communication, the first thing it comes into your mind is like delivering a speech, but there are so many aspects to it. I'm pretty sure the previous speakers also touched about it. So communication is the simple conversation you have with your mother, or someone you meet on the street, or even a job interview. So I mean, there's communication everywhere. Like when it comes to face-to-face communication, I mean, even a text message and an email is a form of communication too. But so even in those interactions, I mean, things you the things we don't realize is the eye contact, the facial expression, the smile we have on our faces has a huge impact on how you communicate to the other person. I mean, how the other person perceives what you say. So even though it's something which slips off our mind, it is actually something important, and it's something we should work on to be a great communicator. So to start things off, something even I realized while I was doing my research on this is your appearance, how you look, how you present yourself plays a huge impact. It may be how you comb your hair. It can be even the subtlest jewelry you might wear. It leaves an impression, especially on strangers, like especially on the people you meet that day. I mean, like people you have not encountered before. So let's when you like just think about it. I mean, when you see a person like the walking on the road, the first thing you do is you actually look at the person and you just have a impression on him, even though you haven't like spoken a word to him, you build an impression. And that impression, like about 70 to 80% of it, like the appearance of that person matters. How he dressed, whether he's clean or how he walks on the road, that everything matters. So it's quite important, and I think it plays a huge deal when it comes to interviews and vivas and all, like how you go into it. I mean, I'm pretty sure your colleagues have mentioned, so if you have a viva exam in the next day, like, dude, you should comb your hair like this and cut your nails, because that professor doesn't like people with long nails and nail polish and all. So there you can see how appearance plays a key role when it comes to communicating. So the first thing I want you all to remember is, like, when it comes to appearance, how you look play has a huge impact. Even though it might, we might miss it when it comes to the things we think about when we think of nonverbal communication. So it doesn't have to be like when you're prepared, when you're doing a presentation in front of a crowd. It can be, like I mentioned before, the when you walk on the road and you meet a random stranger, like how you look has an impact on him. And what, like, I mean, you can mention sort of things to him, and the impact of it also, like how you appear has an impact on the things you say as well. Like that, like, for example, I mean, if you let's say someone is talking to you about the same exact topic, but if that person is more presentable, like there's a higher chance of you grasping the things that that person has to say, because there is an increased chance of credibility around. So one thing, and the first thing I want you all to keep in mind when it comes to nonverbal communication is how you look. You have to be presentable, you have to be neat, so like it is more attractive to your audience, so you can be a better speaker when you focus on your appearance as well. It doesn't have to be, I'm not talking in the notes of being beautiful and all, it's just being presentable, being neat. So that's the one thing, and it's not the most important of things, but I thought of starting there, so that my basically the factors I want to mention has order. So first thing is appearance, and moving on to this huge bundle basically. So there's so many things under this umbrella. Let's say umbrella, and there are so many factors under this umbrella we are gonna talk about. So I think when it comes to nonverbal communication as a whole, even though I started off with appearance, the first thing which comes into your mind is facial expressions, your body movement. So I will be tackling that next. So like I said before, what you say matters. The matters were like about 67% of your communication skills. The rest of that 30 to 40% entirely depend on how you move. It had like from head to toe, there are parts of your body which matters and which leaves an impact on your audience. So we'll start things off from head to toe basically. First up, what I want to focus is on eye contact. So let's just say, I mean, when you're talking to somebody, you would rather prefer that person looking there's something wrong with my connection. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Natasha.
Yeah, at the beginning as well. Mm.
You're good to go now, I think.
Okay. If I'm breaking up somewhere down the line, just let me know. Like raise your hand so I'll see. Okay. So yeah, where was I? I was talking about eye contact. So yeah, if when you're having a conversation with someone, and let's just say if that person is directly looking at you, you get the impression that his 100% focus is on you and on the things he or she has to say to you. But if that person's eye contact and he was looking and eye contact is on something else and somewhere else, I mean, it gives you the impression that he's basically doesn't exactly have the entire attention on the things he has to say, and he's like half-heartedly doing it. So and that leaves the impression, like that leaves the impression on the listener that maybe what he has to say doesn't have exact credibility and validity. So there's less so basically the information does not get exactly conveyed to the listener, so which reduces the point of communication. Basically your ideas are not getting through. So the first and foremost, the most important thing is eye contact. So when you're talking to someone, even though you can't, maybe you're shy to directly make eye to eye contact, at least start off with looking at their face or your forehead or their forehead or something. Just focus on their face, even though eyes may be intimidating at first for some people, but try to like at least look at their face when you're talking to them. So it might be kind of difficult when it comes to a larger audience, but try to like focus your attention to certain people, like change your gaze over time and like change your gaze by like looking at people at their faces at like different directions. So like if you like the audience feels connected to you, and like no, you're not just saying what you have to say, you're saying it directly to them, so which increases their willingness to actually grab what you have to say. Like they're and like they are saying something, but then again they're actually interested in making sure we grab on the things where the speaker has to say. So therefore when it comes to communication and non-verbal communication, eye contact is key. And just to deviate a bit, and when it comes to one-to-one interactions, I mean, even though in public speaking it's quite hard to maintain direct eye contact, but like I said, you can change your gaze from person to person in like different directions, just so the audience feels involved. And when it comes to one-to-one interactions, I would say, like I mentioned, try to, look at their face, not to switch gazes from place to place, focus the attention to them so that they know you have their entire like 100% of their attention, and it basically increases the confidence the listener has on the speaker. So don't ever forget, maintain eye contact. So that's one thing uh, I want to start with. So we were at the level of our head. So we talked about eye contact. And another thing, even Gavelier facial mentioned at the beginning in the introduction, is facial expressions. So, I mean, you can speak about something really happy or something which is very sad and something which makes people furious. But if it lacks any sort of expression from you, do you think that it will be impactful on the audience? I mean, you can be like, I met someone today. I met this long lost friend I had who I worked with 3 years ago, and she was such a great person. I met her today. If you say something like that, and it's just, oh my God, I met this friend who I had worked with 3 years ago. She's, I can't believe I met her. Like it's been 3 years since I last seen her. I mean, you can like when you compare the two, you can see a significant difference, I mean, on the impact it has on the audience. I mean, the first bit I did, I mean, it doesn't exactly make the story interesting and you don't want to listen. But in the second act I did, I mean, it I mean, it makes the listener more curious and like they want to pay attention and they want to hear it in until the end. And that's what we want as a speaker for our audience to be engaged. So it's really important to say things with feeling. I mean, it's quite, I mean, yeah, like you have to correlate your expressions on the things you have to say. So, I mean, that's another way you can have an impact on your audience, and your what you have to say will penetrate through into your audience, and they will understand it more, and they will remember your content more, like when you associate feelings with what you have to say. I mean, it's basically everything which I'll be touching upon, like, are connected to each other. I mean, when it comes to, since we were in expressions, I will, and there's this correct relation to tone of voice there as well. I mean, when it comes to delivering feeling and feelings through your communication, I mean, expressions and tone of voice are the ones which go hand in hand. So even another thing is like people often associate even change in tone, change in tone with speech, but then again, it's quite a component of nonverbal communication too. So yeah, coming back to my point. So like I mentioned with facial expressions, what's important is you should be able to correlate what you have to say with how you show it in your face. I mean, if it's something happy and if it's something exciting, like you have to show it in your face, like because how you portray it at the end of the day leaves an impact on the audience, and it gives them a message to take home. So I mean, that's what we want. I mean, like, to for our audience to grab something at the end of our speech. So, and what goes hand in hand is, like I mentioned, our tone of voice. But if I speak something like, I met my friend yesterday. I haven't seen her in like 3 years. I mean, she's doing so well. I can't believe I met her yesterday. And it has this such a monotonous way. I mean, like, there was no variation to it, and it's boring. But when I said, "Oh my God, I can't believe I met this friend. Like, I worked with her like 3 years ago. She's such a great person. I didn't think I will see her again." So, I mean, there were variations to it, which makes the story interesting, and it keeps the listener hooked, and like they want to hear what happened at the end. So those are some like really subtle things you can do to make your speech and any sort of communication, any sort of verbal communication, more interactive and interesting, such that, the listener grasps it. I mean, that's what we want, right? So yeah, I was planning on touching that at the end. I mean, that how the tone of voice and even the volume, even the change in volume and pitch, they all, it's basically everything goes hand in hand. I mean, there's no any clear cut point you can divide it. I mean, when it comes to expression, the tone of voice and what you show on your face, like, though both of those things go hand in hand. And yeah, so we touched upon eye contact, we touched upon facial expressions, and we touched upon tone of voice, and moving down into your hands, basically. So especially in a platform like this, where the cues of there's very minimum amount of nonverbal communication you can do in such a platform. I mean, it's basically you can only see from your waist up. So like basically the only stuff I have to like keep you all interacted and interested in what I have to say is how I speak, like with my eye contact and the facial expressions and my hand movements. So therefore, like, hand movements are actually a kind of key component in the nonverbal communication. So it's not there's some people it's not preferred by some people, but then again there are people like who might find like too much hand movements quite offensive. But if you do it moderately, I mean, if you don't overuse it or underuse it, uh hand gestures and hand movements can be a really important way to keep your audience interacted and get your point across as well. I mean, so there are some people who are not exactly very keen in using the hands when they are communicating, but I'm one of the people who actually like it's spontaneously happens like with me, like the hand movements. So and like let's just go back to a scenario to get my point across more. So if I were to do like, especially in this platform, if I were to like talk like this and let's just say, I'm so really it's so glad to speak. Well, it's really great to speak in front of you all today, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. I mean, that's boring. I mean, you don't want to like listen to me. Like if I were to speak like that in throughout this entire session. So therefore like, and like it's, I mean, when it's very monotonous, like what you see is monotonous when I don't use my hands, especially in this kind of platform. So hand gestures can like be really useful in adding some flavor and color onto the things you have to say. It's another component where like which makes your delivery much more impactful. Like it basically all those things, all of the things I've been highlighting today will add up to the point where it's basically the icing on the cake, which is your words basically. The cake is basically your words, and the things I will be mentioning to you all today is the icing on the cake, which makes your speech interactive. So hand movements can, I mean, there aren't any like, specific hand gestures per se, like you have to do. I mean, most of the time it comes naturally. And like the more you do, the more you practice, like the more you try to incorporate hand movements into your day-to-day communication, the more it becomes natural, and like it will start happening spontaneously. And I guarantee you, I mean, it will improve the level of penetration the your it has on the audience, like getting your point across to the audience. I mean, hand movements will help you do that. If there are any like further clarifications down the line, when if you have any questions, please feel free to ask at the end when it comes to, I mean, I'm pretty sure, I mean, if you're not a person who was not much used to doing hand gestures while speaking, it might be quite confusing, I would say. I mean, like how I'm supposed to, do it. But yeah, so I'll touch that once again at the end, and if you have any specific questions as well. So yeah. So the next up is, so we talked about eye contact, expressions, tone of voice, and change in volume, and using gestures. The next step is something sadly I won't be able to, demonstrate to y'all, because because with the Zoom platform you can't exactly uh do it. I mean, you can do it, if but then again it won't be exactly impactful. So the next step what I want to talk about is basically stage usage and movement. So basically, what you can do with your legs when you're delivering a speech. So if I were to just, let's imagine, instead of in a Zoom platform, we were having this interactive session in a tutorial room or a lecture hall. If I were to stand like, like hands by my side in the center of the stage and yapping away about the things about non-verbal communication, do you think it would be impactful? No, right? I mean, it's basically contradicts the point I have to say also. I mean, I'm talking about non-verbal communication, standing like this with my hands by my side and, standing at the center of the stage. But if I were to, walk around the stage, come down the stage and interact with you all as well, I think it would be, it's much more interactive, right? I mean, like you feel like, this girl, this dude is, then she knows what she's talking about, and like she actually wants to, get her point across. It's not just another lecture where the person just yaps away and go home at the end of the day. Like this person wants to actually make sure the audience gets her point. So you see the difference, right? I mean, if I like doing a speech, just standing rigid on the stage and, moving around and making the audience comfortable, it truly has a impact, even though as speakers we may not realize if especially if we are unexperienced. So therefore, if you ever get the opportunity to present like in when you're presenting a presentation, or get the opportunity to deliver a speech of sorts, try to use the stage space. But whilst doing that, too much movement can be too much as well, and it might drive the attention away from the point you're trying to say as well. So once again, it's quite tricky. So there is a thing as too much stage movement too. So for example, to as a starting point, I will just leave this here and as a starting point. So like, let's just say you're delivering a speech, and like, I mean, generally a speech has like various components to it, and like, rather you it's not exactly ideal to basically walk throughout your speech, like walking, like you're saying you're delivering the speech and you're walking to this side and walking to that side. That's not exactly ideal. I mean, I would rather prefer like you stand at one place, deliver a couple of lines, and don't stand rigid. Like, be comfortable, like, just make sure the like it's anikang, be open, like your how you present yourself. I mean, it can be uh how do you say it? So like, don't stand rigid, like rigid. Just be comfortable, keep your body relaxed, use some soft hand gestures, and make eye contact, and have facial just give me a second. Okay. Yeah, once like, yeah. So what I was saying was like, too much movement can be a bit of like, it might uh, take the highlight, the basically affect the delivery. So I would suggest, like, stand at one point and you deliver a couple of lines, and use good facial expressions, and some soft hand movements, and deliver a couple of lines, and then subtly move to one side of the stage, and then deliver some another bit from your speech, and then move to another side of the stage, and deliver the rest. So that way there won't be like too much movement, but then again there will be like adequate amount of movement, just so it won't take the attention away from the point you're trying to say, whilst making it entertaining and not boring, and make the audience feel like relatable, basically, like they won't be intimidated by the speaker. So that's what I wanted to highlight when it comes to stage movement. And the other thing, when it comes to, like, we talked about, so we went from our head to toe, basically. So we talked about how facial expressions, how about eye contact, how we can, use the tone of voice, and how the variation in the tone of voice and the volume can have a impact. We talked about our hand movements and how you can use the stage space and walking around in an audience, how it can be impactful. The other most important thing is posture. If you were to, like, sit like this and crouched upon, and like, and muttering away, I mean, that's not exactly pleasant, and you don't like, you may not feel like looking at the person, or even like listen, like hear what he has to say. And if like that dude who's like presenting on the stage was like standing with the erect backbone, and like or sitting like confidently, I mean, posture is something which has an impact as well. I mean, let's just, when it comes to a speech where you deliver it standing, like standing erect, basically having your back straight, and walking around, I mean, it leaves an impression. Just imagine a guy, like, just imagine you are in this, let's say, auditorium, and you can see this guy who's like standing straight, smiling comfortably, and casually walking around the stage and deliver a speech. You're drawn, like, you want to listen to that guy, right? I mean, that he present, even though, I mean, he's content might not contain something useful, but then again you will be drawn to look at that person and listen to what he has to say, just by the fact that how he presents himself. So like that, the posture can be very, in fact, like it's a part of the body movements. I mean, if you, even if you're walking in the stage by side to side, if you're crouched and lacking any energy, I mean, it won't be impactful as if you were having your back straight and walking around the stage. And especially posture comes, like, it's very important in sit down interviews or vivas. Like if you were, like if you're sitting in front of an examiner and the, like you're sitting like this and crouched away, and I mean, it just radiates that the fact that you're scared and intimidated by them. It doesn't radiate confidence. And I know what I'm talking about. I even, you might have studied everything, and if you, like, crouched up and like very afraid of the people you're like sitting across, I mean, it doesn't exactly leave a great impression on the people who will be examining you. I mean, you might know the 100% of the subject content you will be talking about, but if you lack great presentation, from once again going back to the initial points I talked about as well, I mean, like you might know everything like about the subject content you need to know, but if you don't have the proper appearance, and if you weren't confident enough, and if you weren't standing straight, I mean, the it won't have the same impact on the audience as someone who has those qualities. So basically, it's I mean, posture, there's so much you can talk about if you dive into deep details. But for now, I mean, like, when we think about it on the top of my head, what I feel is, I mean, as undergraduates, what we commonly face are presentations and, maybe speech, so one or two speeches, and, vivas, and maybe job interviews too. So when it comes to those, I think I've touched upon things, yeah, which you might need down the line. So basically, yeah, I think I've yeah, touched on everything I was planning on saying. I mean, when it comes to individualized facts on like components of nonverbal communication. So back to summing it up and giving you all a take home message. Basically, I mean, that I said a lot of stuff, and some of those things might not be useful in the long run, but then again, there are some things I want you all to remember, and I mean, take basically take home with you. I mean, as undergraduates, time is a very valuable thing. So I mean, I want you all to, I mean, you spend some time with me, and thank you for coming and joining with me, and listening to what I have to say about this topic. And so I, and for as a gift, I want to give you all was, I mean, something useful you can use in as your career as an undergraduate, as well as in the future too. So what I want to leave you all with is basically communication. It's not just the words you have to say. Communication is a huge spectrum of things, which starts from the gentle touch. I mean, even gentle touch, like so, and but most of the modern communication, when it comes to face-to-face interhuman interaction, involves speech and words, but it only contain it's only about like 60 to 70% of the when it comes to the like when it comes to communication, words only comprises about 60 to 70% of it. The rest of it comes with how you basically present yourself, which is the aspect of the non-verbal part, which involves how you look, dressing nicely, being presentable, leaving a good impression. Because when you walk into an auditorium, or when you walk into a interview, or when you walk into a viva, the first impression the audience has is how you look and how you basically the expression you have on your face. So even those aspects are key when it comes to getting your point across. So there's appearance, like I mentioned, and then there's expression and the rest and the component of body movements, which includes once again the expressions and the tone of voice and the variations of it and hand movements, stage usage, and posture. So those stuff when I'm pretty sure most of us, like when it comes to even a speech or in an interview, we know what to say, but the majority of the marks when it comes to the exam context comes with in like viva exams comes with how you are able to basically show the fact that you know what you're talking. I mean, like you can study everything in the books, but then again, if you don't deliver it at the exam, I mean, it's pointless. So those kind of exams and those interviews are structured to evaluate you all on that ability. So as long as you know your stuff and you're confident, but because and you use all those nonverbal cues I highlighted in the session today to deliver in during your delivery, I mean, then you have that 100% of the 100% communication going across, basically. I mean, that's the best you can deliver. I mean, that's everything you can deliver. So, I mean, so getting back to the main point once again. So let's just like when it comes to yeah, so I broke it down like the 60 to 70% of the communication comes through your words, but the rest comes from the non-verbal aspect of it, as I described before. So I'm pretty sure most of y'all know the verbal aspect of it, and that comes with research and studying and all. But that 30% is quite acquired, and it comes with practice, and it increases the authenticity, and it shows that you're confident, and it just basically you get your point across, and it increases the validity in your information as well. I mean, there's a trick, like this is a trick. I mean, I'm pretty sure most competent communicators know, is that, I mean, you can say an absolute lie, but if you say it with like very with a flat, like if you show it, do it with confidence, I mean, you can convince the listener that it's true. So I mean, so that shows that what matters is actually how you present yourself, and that comes with the nonverbal aspect I've talked about today. So I mean, you can basically convert a lie into a truth if you are confident. So I mean I'm not suggesting you do it, I mean, in any context, but I mean, that shows the power of what it shows the power non-verbal communication holds. Like so I mean, imagine if you actually know your stuff, and I mean, if you master non-verbal communication, I mean, imagine the things you can get done. I mean it's limitless, basically. So what I want to leave, like I said, basically the summary of a summary now, leave you all with this. I mean, it's the in communication, the words we say matters, and like I said before, that comes with actual research, and you have to look into it, but like on the research and studying, you have to know your facts to get that part, to be 100% confident in the verbal aspect of it. But once you master these skills, I mean, you will be a very confident and efficient communicator. And another thing which popped into my mind was, I slipped my mind now. Yeah, so basically, and those things comes with practice. And like I said, communication, it's not just interviews or vivas or a speech in front of an audience. Communication is talking to your friend, talking to your mother. So I mean, you can incorporate the things I told in the speech today into your day-to-day activities, such that you get some practice. And once you're in the spot where those skills are very much needed, it comes naturally to you, and it doesn't need to be forced out. And you like it's like basically reflex. It comes spontaneously. You don't have to think of it. So that, I mean, that doesn't come without practice. So you have to use these skills every single day, just so, I mean, those skills will be like spontaneous when you actually need them. So my advice is keep those aspects of nonverbal communication in mind and use it in your day-to-day life. So, I mean, like, because when it comes to anything, practice is key. I mean, you might be the worst guitar player ever, but if you like practice for like 10, years and years, you might be the master of it. So it's the same with the nonverbal cues as well. So just, if what I want every one of you to basically, leave this session today with the idea that I'm gonna incorporate what I learned today into my day-to-day like communication. I mean, those slight day-to-day communication which we have with everyone we interact with. So such that when those skills are very much needed, it comes naturally to you. So that's what I want to leave you all with. So I hope you all have those aspects what I talked about nonverbal communication, and how that is the icing on the cake, which are our words, and how those things comes with practice. If you don't do it, if you don't use it every single day. And another thing is, when you get the opportunity to volunteer to speak in front of an audience, it might be in a class setting or in a lecture setting. I mean, even if in a tutorial kind of setting, just take the opportunity, because those are the opportunities where we actually get to train ourselves. Because, I mean, even though in day-to-day communication, I mean, you can practice this, but sometimes stage fright comes when it's a larger audience. So basically, don't deny yourself of the opportunity to talk in front of an audience. Might be very intimidating, but one important thing is the like, practice is what makes it perfect. So you have to keep on doing it until it comes natural to you and you're not afraid of it anymore. So yeah, so keep the things about keep. So you have to have a present appearance. I mean, have to be neat, and I mean, it doesn't exactly, it's very quite controversial in a way. I mean, like, pleasant appearance to one person and a pleasant appearance to another person is quite variable. But I'm in a general context, I would say. I mean, as long as you look pleasant. I mean, the appearance, I think, the facial expressions carries a huge weight in the appearance, not just what you wear and how you look, how you, like, when, if you approach a person with a smile, and if you approach a person with, like, very rude face, I mean, it leaves two impressions. And I think, I mean, you can look the the neatest person in the world, and if you have a happy expression, I mean, you will be perceived very well, rather than if you have a rude expression. So, I mean, when it comes to appearance, I think more weight is carried by the expression rather than how you look per se. But it do carries an important, it do carries a weight too, but not too much of a weight compared to what your body movements can offer, basically. So keep those things in mind. So I'm just going to run them through. So eye contact, expressions, hand movements, gestures, stage usage, posture. Those are one of the, like, basically the base level things you have to know when it comes to nonverbal communication. So keep those in mind, add those to your everyday speeches and everyday communication, any sort of communication which happens every day, and try to take up opportunities where you get to speak in front of a crowd. It doesn't have to be like a huge crowd, and even if like it's a crowd of 10 to 20 people, I mean, take up the opportunity when you're provided with it. So yeah, so take up opportunities, try to incorporate what I've mentioned throughout this session into your day-to-day life. So just so that those kind of things become natural, much more natural to you. Also, I know, I mean, if yeah, so this is basically the end of when you take the content of my delivery basically. So coming back to the activity we did prior, so this is much more well perceived if we have done it in a physical setup. So I mean, so you saw how Shahrukh delivered. I mean, that was an amazing delivery. And when it, since the like I mentioned before, in the Zoom platform, it's quite limited when it comes to, with body language aspect of it. But he did an amazing delivery. But if you were to Shahrukh, if it's great, if you can take up the opportunity. But then again, like I said, this is another opportunity where you can volunteer again. So if there are any other volunteers, I mean, if you like to incorporate what I said about non-verbal communication and maybe do another round robin, like maybe talk 30 seconds to 1 minute on this topic, it would be good. I know, I understand. I mean, you won't be able to use much of the things I've mentioned in this setup, but if you can give it a try, it would be great. I mean, so then I know, I mean, you actually grasp something from my session. So yeah. So any volunteers? There's one volunteer. I mean, it would be great if you can turn on your camera, but if it's not possible, that's okay too. I mean, do you like to speak? Okay, couple of words on where do I see myself in 10 years?
Okay. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Today's session is about the non-verbal communication mainly. The first thing we want to understand is the things we are speaking, the words we are speaking, the actions we are using is more important than the words we are speaking. And that is the main point of our session today. In that case, the Gavelier mentioned many points. The first one is space express the feeling in our face. When we are speaking something, it should deliver by the face 50%. Like she gave many examples also. Like when we are speaking sad things, we want to act like not acting. We want to express in our face. The second thing is, I think, the actions, like how we use our hands. And the third thing is eye contact. It is most important. When we are speaking to someone, we want to look at them. We look at the like this, and speaking to this is not correct. That is the point. And the other thing is, when we are speaking in the stage, not stand in one place and speaking something and come isn't a good thing. She said we want to cover the whole stage by moving to there, but not speaking while speaking. When I moving there and there, that cause the point is broken. So when we are finishing some point,
Exactly.
and we can move to somewhere like that. There are many points. So that's all.
Do you want to speak on this topic for like 30 seconds? You like did a great job in summarizing, and I'm glad, because I mean, it shows that you actually, like, got what I was trying to say. So I did basically convey my message to my audience. So, Shan, would you like to, speak for 30 seconds on this topic? Where do I see myself in 10 years? It would be great if you can incorporate what you learned in your speech too, when it comes to non-verbal communication.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm first year undergraduate, but still also I'm finding what is my aim. I'm finding my purpose. So I can't give a clear idea about where do I see myself in 10 years. But I think in any part of our country development, I took place. Like that, I'm not have a other dreams. I want to take part in my country development. So for that, I think not only in engineering, I want to research some some problems we are facing, and I want to give a solution like that. I have a dream. That's
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's a nice. I mean, it's quite okay for being when you like many undergraduates, I think it's they don't know what they want to do in life. I mean, they are confused. I mean, it's something common. Even I was like that at one point. So and like it's a great time you have, Shan. So I hope you can help, contribute towards the development of our country. So that's great. So, like, I mean, it would have been great if I could have done this session physically. I mean, this is actually, it carries more weight if it was done physically. And yeah, the other thing was, are there any questions, like any clarifications you all want to, like, have any problems you might have, like, problems which might have come up pop in your head while I was doing this? I mean, are there any questions? If so, I'm like, yeah, I'm happy to answer anything. You can put it in the chat box as well. I mean, that's cool too. Hmm, I guess not. So, yeah, over to you, Keshila.
Thank you, Gv.Tharushie. That was a very informative session, and I'm sure that all of the participants learned a lot about nonverbal communication and got lots of tips and tricks as to how they can use this knowledge while they're speaking and delivering presentations or talking to some people. And I'm sure these conversations and speeches or presentations will be much more interesting and fun to listen to and look at from here onwards. Uh, and Thank you again, Gv.Tharushie, for accepting our invitation and delivering this awesome session to our Gaveliers. And I'm very happy that you were able to do this session for us. And I'm very thankful that you were able to take a time off of your busy schedule to be here and share this workshop with us today. All right.
No problem. I mean, anything for the Gavel Club. I mean, even I've learned a lot, even I improved a lot. So, I mean, it's all about giving back, right? I mean, you get something and you should give back as well. So, it's great to be back. And I mean, and to help you all out with, improving some of our new Gaveliers in their communication skills. So, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tarshay. Um, all right, we can move on to our interactive session next. I invite our very own Gavaliers, Gavalier Sharuka, Dinet, and Gavalier Hasira to conduct this session. Over to you guys.
Yeah, but before that, let's take a
wait.
peek, right?
Oh yeah, please.
The screenshot.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Uh,
And so, come on, everyone.
As
Yeah,
previous VPPR, I do understand you. Problem.
of course, same issues here. So everybody, just open up your cameras. This is the last session. So, yeah. Okay. Okay. Hope you guys give a big smile. 3, 2, 1. Okay, let me just check. I think, Dinet, you can carry on the session.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you can.
Right. You guys can see screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. To introduce myself, ourselves, I am Gavelier Dinet Karagala. I guess now I am a second year of the Faculty of Engineering. And yeah, Sharka, introduce yourself, please, so that everyone knows who you are.
Well, yeah. And I bit already introduced myself. Technology, second year undergraduate. I'm happy to be here today and be involved in the interactive session with you guys. We have beautiful topics. Let's get this done.
Yeah, okay. So for today's workshop, and since today is the last workshop, we thought that it would be a good idea to come up with a session that would allow you to use all the things that you have learned so far in one session. And so we decided to do something similar to our usual table topic sessions. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with it, it's basically where you are given a certain number of topics, and all you have to do is just pick one of those and give a speech for about between 1 minute, 1 to 2 minutes. That's all you have to do. And as you can see in the screen, we have chosen 5 topics. And Sharka, if you would please go through the topics one by one.
So, as I already mentioned, we have beautiful topics here. My first week in the university, I think you guys have also first year students here as well. So it's a very familiar with you guys to talk about that. How was it in the first days? How was the first days in the university? And here's the topic for guys. And if you are older, senior guys, still the topic is open for you to let us know that what do you think about it. Getting my driving license above, well, that is going to be a fun topic. We just choose it for you guys. Have fun on it, and let us know what you and what are the funny stories or what went wrong especially as well. So the red flags to look out for in a partner. So it's a kind of a bit personal thing. It can be controversial. It really doesn't matter. Just let us know what you think about red flags and when it comes to relationship stuff. I'm pretty sure you guys have something to add on that topic as well. The fourth one, we're having, are we free to make our own choices? Kind of a philosophy we are moving here. So what do you guys think? Are we really free to make our own decisions, or is there something behind always dragging us or forcing us to do something they want us to do? Let's see what you guys have to say. And the last one, and of course my favorite one, the conserve nature for future generations. So guys, I already talked about this a bit, that we need to conserve our nature, our mother planet. It doesn't matter what we do. If we destroy our mother nature, if we destroy our surrounding, we'll fail. So don't do that. And there's the topic for you to talk about that. Those who love to talk about it, those are things we had to talk today. Yeah, let's go.
So if there are any volunteers who wants to do any of these topics, please feel free to volunteer yourself. This is a great opportunity for you guys to just use all the things that you have learned in the last 5 sessions. So please, are there any volunteers?
Yeah, we have learned learning a lot of things so far in the workshop series, and also today our Tharushie told us a lot of informative stuff. So this is the time to put everything on the plate and deliver it. Yeah, we are so excited to hear from you. Any volunteers?
I don't think Dinet knows about this thing that much, but in our first week in the universities in Matara, one of the main things that we sort of got fascinated with were peacocks. And
Ah.
after some time that fades away. You don't get excited by seeing peacocks dancing and all that shit. But during the first week, it was definitely very interesting to see them, and
Actually,
everybody was taking pictures and videos and sharing them on
okay.
statuses and all that.
Actually,
Okay,
Sure.
but
there
the
are,
thing, this
there are beautiful creatures, man. They don't talk bad things about them. I really don't like it.
Uh,
there's
they-
peacocks in
Yes,
Gaul as well in the engineering faculty as well, and we also were like kind of amazed in first week, but then after that after seeing them enough times,
yeah. After
kind
that,
of lose the
it's like,
magic.
yeah, they're like blue chickens after that.
Yeah.
not like that. Sound is a bit terrible sometimes. Other than that, their beauty is something amazing, man. It's
No, they're
just
basically chickens, dude. They're basically chickens now.
okay. I cannot teach you the creativity patient, so I will not say anything. Just let's see.
Asir, I think it's the same with you, right? You also think peacocks are basically chickens?
Okay, okay. We should not be arguing in the session. So, do we have
We'll
any
see.
other?
Yeah. Do we have any volunteers?
We have Chihara or Chihara. Can you unmute yourself and say something about these topics? If you have something to add colors here. Chihara or Chihara.
Hi guys, good evening. I'm Chihara. I'm a first year undergraduate in Faculty of Engineering. And I would like to talk about my first week in the university. I forgot to ask, am I audible enough?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So my first week, it's development week. And it was actually, I think, in previous month. The first thing I can say about is I, I was in the hostel. Um, So wait a minute. So sorry. My first week in the university, the first week I got hostel and sorry guys, I have connection problem. Can I talk it later?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You're welcome to talk anytime you can. Before the session ends, of course. Well, we are expecting to hear from you soon again. Do we have
Hold on. Inocean is asking to explain topic number 3.
yeah.
So a red flag is something that you find uh undesirable, kind of a negative point or a warning about a future, about a certain romantic partner. It's basically something that you don't want to see in a romantic partner. That is what a red flag is.
The end up the surprise in a bad way from your front, something like that, I guess.
Yeah. Something you really, really don't want to see. Like it's basically something like it's like kind of like a deal breaker. That yeah. So is there anyone who wishes to speak on any of these topics?
I think Mr. Peshala has something to do with driving license. So why not?
Is that Peshala, would you like to
Where did
speak
that
on
come
what
from?
you
Where
like to
did that
speak on
come
your
from?
experience on how you got your driver's license?
Um, all right, I'll talk about my experience of getting the driver's license. Um, uh, okay, let's go. Uh, all right, so my father was the one who really wanted me to get my driver's license right after I did my A-levels. So he started teaching me how to drive. Those days we had a very small manual gear car for like he just had it a very old thing, and uh, sorry, he had bought it like a couple of months ago from a friend to be resold for some purpose. Like it was, we were not using that car. Okay, so he chose to. He wanted me to practice using that car. It was very old. It didn't have a proper clutch, and it was very annoying to drive that. We like he did not want me to learn driving with with the auto gear car that we had. So he made me do this. Okay, and this car did not have a proper clutch. Every time I released the clutch, I did it properly. Okay, don't come at me saying that don't know how to use a car, drive a clutch gear car. Okay, so I did it properly, but this clutch was so worn out, and it was basically impossible to drive it properly. Okay, whenever I released the clutch, it would just stall every single time, and I had to like really get used to that clutch. And I somehow after like few days, I sort of got used to that clutch. And after that, my father was like, okay, now you can drive around, it's fine, now you're good at this. So go to a driver's license go to a driving school for a couple of days, and then go and get your license, because he wanted me to sort of like go through what a usual driving test would be. So for that, he asked me to go to a driving school for a couple of days, and get that exam practice kind of thing, practical exam practice thingy. So I went there, and I went for a ride. Okay, in this manual van. That's what you usually get to practice with, right? A van. Um, so I went there, and so I couldn't drive that van. It had a such it, the clutch was very easy to no, sorry, the clutch was very easy to get used to, because it was basically there was no release point. So basically, even if you whatever the way you released it, it just worked. It was so different from what I was used to. Uh, I got used to using this really bad clutch, but then I had to use this really easy clutch. So yeah, and that was the main thing that I had to overcome during that time. But then came the driving instructors who just scream at you every single time you do something mildly irritating. There was this girl who used to practice with us, and every time she even every time she turned on the van, turned the key, the driving instructor used to get mad at her for doing something wrong. Regardless of what she did, there was something for the instructor to get mad at. I think everybody is used to that thing when they go to the driving instructors for the first time, and it's far worse when you go to the actual test. The examiners there, they are far worse than the instructors. You can't they will scold at you with in filth, basically sinhala filth, no exceptions. Even if you're a woman, even if you're a girl, they will come at you with filth, right? Pure sinhala filth. Like it's it's very sorry, it's very surprising that they get to keep their jobs. It's very surprising that people don't complain. So yeah, that was basically my experience. I got to learn a lot. I got to learn a lot about people, and yeah, and I hope that I will never have to go through that experience again.
So I think you we should. I mean, I don't have that much of experience, but I think we get two classes, driving class and also kind of a singular class as well, something like that.
I think Facial basically just like retold every single person's driving school experience. Besides the van thing, but when it comes to driving instructors, yeah, that's basically how it is. Uh, they're just so angry for no reason, and it just drives you up, even though you're not doing anything, like you're not doing anything that wrong. Like
And it's so
if you,
surprising that every driving instructor is the same. Like
yeah,
every driving instructor gets mad. I don't know why that is. Like, is it a
Actually,
job? Like, it
I
may be a
think
job requirement,
that
for you to
that's what
get
I was
that job.
going to say. It's something like like a requirement or something to
Yeah,
you should be
maybe
able
that's
to
it.
get mad at the person. it's kind of a requirement or something.
In my driving school, there was one guy, he was kind of new, and he was like actually kind of nice. He even gave me a ride to the place where like we practiced driving. Like he once gave me a ride there for free. Like just like he just saw me and he was like he knew I was going there. He just gave me a ride on his motorbike, and he never yelled at me once. He was the only good guy there. But then there's all these like experienced old buggers over there that they're just like just screaming for no reason. It's just super annoying. And thankfully, I managed to get my license, and I never have to go there again.
So we can check that rules legally Dinesh if you go now and see what has happened to him. Maybe he
Oh no! If I don't see him there and I find out he's fired, then no, there's no hope for humanity. Uh, okay. So, are there any other volunteers who wants to give a speech on any of these topics? Any of them? I think Gavali Sharupa would like someone to speak on the last topic, since he's such a nature lover.
So yeah, that's what I was going to say. Anyone, guys, are there any nature lovers? Please talk about something about our nature, our mother planet, or how to conserve our nature for our future generation. Anyone? Come on, there must be someone. Biology people? No one? That's the depressing.
Oh, Inoshan would like to speak.
Please, the stage is yours.
Yeah, I think conserve nature for future generation. I think I can point out only one point. The nature is something. It's nature. It's created by. We don't know who created it. It creates by its own. We can't recreate it. We can use it. We can enjoy it. When we save it only, we can use. Future generation can enjoy the way. When we are telling like this, we can create a swimming pool, but we can't create a nature beach. It's from nature. We should conserve it for the future generation. It means it's not a big challenge. It means doing like doing anything nature, doing many projects like that. Not a big stuff. Just we think like this. When we are traveling or going out, we have met up with some garbages. It means like polythene or something. We just throw it in the road or something somewhere. So it can cause the future. It can cause the nature. It can cause the nature. It can danger for the beauty of the nature. So we just want to keep our garbages with us and we can properly manage it. It will be a great helpful for our nature and it will be helpful for our future generation. So let's conserve nature for future generation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Anoshan. Actually, it has been a great speech. I do totally agree with you because we are putting garbage everywhere where we go. It really doesn't matter what. We don't even think what would happen next. Someone come and pick it up for us, and it is over from there. That is not going to even happen. It's there until we go back to the same place. If it doesn't do anything harm. So it's another subject. So guys, thank you so much for talking about that, especially for our guy Gabriel Notion. Reduce the usage of plastic and polythene. That is also one thing that I need to add. So, any nature lovers or anyone who wants to talk about the red flags in your relationships?
I think we have time for one person to speak since it's
Yeah,
close to 5:30.
of course.
Is there
Time.
anyone who would like to speak on any of these topics? Anton, yes. Which topic would you like to speak on?
Yeah. So am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. I wanted to talk about the fourth topic, which was are we free to make our own choices? Which is actually something I've been thinking about for a while now. And in a nutshell, my answer is yes, but it depends on the scale, right? And there are certain factors that will limit our ability to make our own choices. What I think is the most prominent limit would be money or maybe social status or something like that. Because if you think about it, let's say I want to make the choice of leaving the country right now. How would I be able to do it, right? If I say, if let's say I'm from a very well-off family, more than enough money to spend on, air tickets, visas, and, living costs abroad and all that, I can make that choice. It's simple. But if I'm not able to, if I'm maybe restricted financially, then I would not be able to make that choice. So that choice has been taken away from me before even giving me the chance to like make the choice, right? So that's like one of the main things I was thinking about a lot. Actually, when I saw this, I was like, has someone been reading my mind or something? And I also thought gender is also something that kind of affects these choices, which not much nowadays, but I've been thinking like throughout history and all that, uh, like if you wanted to have higher education, if you were a female, that was a bit, frowned upon. It might get you burned on the stake for and all of that. So that's also another thing that would like nowadays it's not that bad, right? But even now there are some instances I've heard in my own village where people are like, she's a girl, why does she need to study further, just marry her off and stuff like that. So in those cases, whatever freedom of choice we have has been taken away from us before we have the chance to even make that said choice, right? And another thing that limits our choices is time, right? Because let's say you're like 67 years old and you wanted to travel around the world. So it depends on the person, right? If you've got 1 year left to live, you might not be able to make that choice. Even if you were to make that choice, you might not be able to complete
Anton, are you with us, boy?
Does he have a connection issue?
which it's better not to speak about. Yeah, so basically that's what I wanted to say, that even though we are free to make our own choices, there are certain limits which prevent us from making our own choices, which take that freedom away from us. Mainly, as I said, money, or sometimes gender, or time, or our whatever country or wherever we are living from. So yeah, thank you, and that's my speech, I guess.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gavelier. Actually, I'm Gavelier Anton, and it's been really a pleasure to see such a philosopher in Gavel Club. Yeah, thank you so much. Great speech.
Yeah, you really brought up I think the best way to summarize your speech would be, we are technically free to make our choices. It's how we act on our choices. That's the main issue. Whether we can make it. So, like for example, like you said, if he wants to if he wants to buy a plane ticket or like move abroad, he's making that choice. But if he's not financially capable of it, then he needs to act. Does he have the capability of acting on that choice? Can he find the funding, or can he find the funding somewhere else? Can he work for the funding to get a plane ticket, or whatever is needed? So yeah, it does depend on it does depend from person to person, and yeah, it's basically about acting on your choices. So yeah, that's actually a really really good speech by Anton, and kind of sets me on a uh what's it called, personal crisis, midlife crisis. Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
so basically you sent me on midlife crisis. Yes, thank you very much. So I think since it's 5:30, we can't do any more speeches, which brings us an end to this interactive session and also an end to our workshop series. So I guess that's the last you'll hear from me in this workshop. You hopefully if you decide to stick with Gavel Club and come to our general meetings, you will see both me and my yeah, sort of stupid speeches and all that. So yeah, with that, me and Sharuka will hand this over to patient.
All right, we can wrap this whole Mentor Circle project now, the workshop series, and I will be handing my authorities to our very own president, Gavelier Siumi, to wrap this whole Mentor Circle workshop series up.
Okay, so thank you, Peshala. And this marks the end of a very successful Mentor Circle series organized for the first time in the history of the University of Ruhuna Gavel Club, and one of the biggest initiatives by the educational team of this executive year. And first of all, I would like to thank the mentors and all the participants of all 5 series. So we had these mentor sessions for 5 weeks, 4 consecutive weeks, and then we had a small break last week due to our election. And then we were back. We are back this week with our last session, the 5th week. So first of all, I would like to thank all the 5 mentors, Gavelier Ravidu, Gavelier Ravisha, Gavelier Dilushi, Gavelier Madhushi, and Gavelier Tharushie for being a part and for accepting our invitation and for making the level best in all the sessions that they conducted. And next, I thank all the participants of the 5 sessions for being with us for the entire 5 weeks. And I hope you all gained some kind of knowledge on public speaking, on how to speak in front of an audience, to how to overcome your fears, to how to use your body languages, to how to improve your communication skills. And we are happy if, as a club, if you have taken something out of this workshop series. So that's our ultimate happiness. And next, I would like to thank the biggest people behind the success of this Mentor Circle series, that is the organizing committee of the Mentor Circle 24. So here in the screen, you can see the members of the organizing committee of the Mentor Circle series. So headed by our Vice President for Education, Keshila Prabhapurna, and Shadow Vice President for Education, Hasara Sena Nayaka. And of course, I would like to mention everybody. So we had event coordinators, Dinet Karagala and Roshan Ronaldo. And then we had media coordinators, Yanusha Veerasurya, Senaya Dharmadasa, Vasana Madurangi. And then we had mentee coordinators, Nishani Hansika, Devni Veerasinghe, and 3 mentor coordinators, Sandadinu Bimsara, Selanka De Silva, and Sharuka Lakshan. So the success, these were the 12 people behind the screen for making the Mentor Circle series a super success. So thank you, for a big thank you to the organizing committee, and job well done. And so along with that, I would like to encourage the participants of today's meeting. So we have we'll be calling on for some organizing committees in the near future. So even you can apply for those organizing committees and gain experiences along with in the University of Ruhuna Gavel Club. So I'm as the president for this executive year, I'm really happy that we were able to do this initiative and to end it in a really super successful way. And my special thanks to Peshal and Hasira for, they were the people who had this idea initially. They are the people who reached out to me and told me about this, and for putting this into action. That was a major part. So for that, thank you for everything. And so once again, I would like to thank the mentors, the mentees, and the organizing committee of Mentor Circle 24. And yes, so this wraps up the Mentor Circle 24 series of the University of Ruhuna Gavel Club. And so from the next week onwards, we will be having the usual educational meetings. So all the people here, you can join to those educational meetings, and we'll be having some physical meetings in the near future too. So hope to see you all there. and do apply for upcoming organizing committees too. So hereby I adjourn the Mentor Circle series of the University of Ruhuna Gavel Club. So thank you guys for joining, and hope to see you all in another workshop series or any other event. And yes, until then, stay safe and have a pleasant evening. Goodbye.
Bye bye, guys.
See ya.